EuroCham for the export support program. For the export support program, we have a series of interviews which we call the exporter story interviews, where we seek to understand the stories behind each business idea, the journey, how they began to export their products and things like that. The purpose of these interviews are to inspire all the businesses who would like to export their products outside of Cambodia, and also to share some of the lessons learned along the way as well. So these interviews entail into 3 parts: the introduction, the opportunities and challenges, and finally the lesson learned part. Today we are so fortunate to have Colorblind with us in the house today. Mr. Jean-Benoit, please introduce yourself and your company.
So the company is called Colorblind, and it was founded in 2011. In October, more exactly, there was the Cambodian Fashion Week, and the Cambodian Fashion Week came over through some people that I knew, and they told me, would you like to introduce some pieces of your collection? At the time it was not a collection, it was just an idea that I had with a few friends to just have like proper clothing for ourselves, and Fashion Week really pushed for us to have one evening to showcase our products. Within one evening I became a designer, so I was very enthusiastic. I created my first shop in 2012. We got our first corporate contract with the Cambodian airports, which allow us to constitute a financial capacity to be able to develop. And then we opened like another shop at Sofitel. We had a pop-up shop for a year. So we were seeing like in the city very positive signs for us. The market was not there. It was very difficult to convince people that suits were important in the corporate environment. But my vision was really like, we need men and women to be properly dressed up, because we are an international country. We are showing the world what we're capable of. People are coming here from all around the world. We are a very famous country because of the culture, because of the capacities of this country. But I would like us to be well dressed. That's all I wanted. And a few companies were understanding this at the time, mainly international companies who had groups, teams that were traveling. Those companies understood that when you welcome or when you travel abroad, you need to answer those codes. You need to be at the same level in terms of appearance. So we developed throughout the years until we opened our flagship store in 2016 in Phnom Penh, and it's still our flagship store, our main point of sale. We had a few contacts with online distributors. But throughout the years, we understand that we are like really now a big hub of understanding on high-end, premium, and luxury product for and in Cambodia.
What caught my interest was the name. Why did you come up with the name?
So it's always something that I enjoy explaining, because people don't think that I am colorblind, but I am colorblind. So when I was dressing up, my friends were telling me like, JB, you're wearing purple. I'm like, no, it's blue. No, it's purple. And when I was like picking some clothes or picking some items in the shops, I was like, oh, can I have the yellow? They said, no, there is nothing yellow here. So I told myself, like, my vision of all this, my perception of reality, there is a meaning behind it. The way I dress up, people appreciate the way I dress up. They most of the time say, oh, it's a very uncommon color, or it's a very unique way of dressing up. So if it's very unique, we have a business. So I started to dress up some friends, and every time I tell my friends this is a good color, they are very afraid, because they are not used to those colors. They're like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. It's beige. No, it's not beige. It's tobacco color. Okay, for me it's beige. It fits you very well. And this is how it started, and this is how the name stayed. Colorblind.
What's your, let's say, your philosophy in the business?
My philosophy is like tailor-made elegance. We really want to be able to provide a high level of quality, and we want to be able to change the perception of quality. Quality doesn't need to be shown. It doesn't need to be exhibited. It's a feeling. Luxury is a feeling. Quality is a feeling. It's a personal connection that you have with the product. You don't need others to validate your vision of luxury or lifestyle. It's for you. So my vision is for people to focus on what they need in their company, in their life. So what we do at Colorblind is that, of course, we can sell you the product that you want, but our strength is our capacity to tell you what you need. Because we understand how fabric works, we understand what is your lifestyle, we understand what is your objective when you purchase. Many companies, they will come over and they will ask me, okay, I need 500 suits, 300 suits, but sometimes they don't need suits, they just need a good shirt. And I prefer my clients to be delivered with a product that they need, rather than something that in 2 years they will come back and they will say, yeah, but finally my staff, they don't like to wear a jacket. Of course, because you have a company that is construction company, all your managers, they spend the whole day outside, so you don't want all your architects to be wearing like a jacket. You want them to have a good shirt, an elegant shirt. So when they meet the client, when they meet like the heads of teams, like you have like a proper outfit that is adapted to your lifestyle. So my job is really to make sure that we are at every step of the way with our clients. And tailor-made elegance means that everybody gets its own vision of elegance, and we are able to follow up with them at every step of the consumption of the product.
What was the inspiration behind all the business idea and everything that you do?
It's just that I was a bit, let's say, I was seeing the potential of dressing up people. The vision, the inspiration is like, come on, let's make an effort. Let's show, let's be elegant. So 10 years ago, I was working in a real estate company, and everybody was dressed up very average. And I was telling my colleagues that we are selling condos, we are selling buildings, we are selling like quite expensive products. We should have the standards that we have in our work. We should have it. We should look like we understand those standards. When we have like a bank from Korea who comes over to buy a building, and they're all properly dressed up, and we are not. We should be. And so at the time, many companies were not ready for that. But me, I wanted this. It was in my gut. For me, we need to look. It's beyond everything. And because in my personal life, I had access to so many jobs just because I answered to those calls. Many times, I had like some clients working in the office and talking to me instead of my boss, because I think I'm the boss, because I look like the boss. And so that's how I lost a few jobs. But for me, it's very important that when you talk about what you do, when you are good at what you do, you need to also show it. You can be through advertising, it can be, but it's like, a doctor with bad teeth. You don't trust him. So what I want is when you walk in a lawyer office, in a bank, in anywhere in Cambodia, people are properly dressed up. And it's not only buying expensive product, it's understanding what you are selling, understanding who you are, and understanding that this elegance can be translated in many ways. And me, I am just one direction of this elegance. It's the clothes.
So you are talking about all these amazing clothes, amazing suits. Are you currently exporting them?
Yes, we have a few clients abroad, but it's mainly two kinds of clients. We have B2B clients, which are hotels in Germany and in France. We have also brands who send us contracts for one part of their collection that we produce for them. And then we have people who've been living in Cambodia and they want to keep dressing up with us. even though the contract is finished with Cambodia.
Wow. So I think that's the end of our introduction part. Next, we will move on to the opportunities and challenges part. So, JB, tell me what was the most challenging thing for you beginning to export these products?
It's to convince our business partners that to trust us, and then to make a leap of faith with us, meaning that it will be a different schedule of work, it will be a different quality, but it will be a strong bonding in terms of partnership. The first contract I had was a catastrophe because I was not ready, because the expectations of the client were too high. But it was something that I needed to understand what was the international market. So most of the time what we had is first, French people, sometimes they can be very direct in terms of telling you their opinion on the quality, and it was a direct hit for my managers who were Cambodians. They were like very shocked by the way people can have an opinion. But the first step was to correct this, to create a bridge between the companies where we understand each other. As soon as this is done, then the quality followed. Then another challenge was adapting to the updates of the client. So the schedule is changing, the design is changing, the order is changing. And my goal to keep those contracts is to promote our capacity to adapt. We are a small team, we control what we do, we have our own workshop, so we can adapt, it's not a problem. And so this capacity of bouncing back and forth allowed us to keep those contracts. So it was something that I understood, that we have a lot of negative feedback from the client, but we had this positive feedback. So when you break your teeth on those first two contracts, you understand that this is what you need to work on, and this is what you're good at. So on the next contract, you only focus on what you're good at. And so we've been able to supply small quantities for a few places in Europe, and it was rush, emergency orders, and we took them. And they were very surprised by our capacity to be able to deliver. I have the souvenir of a restaurant in France. They needed a full collection for the opening of the restaurant in less than 7 weeks. In the first 3 days, I delivered a whole design, and they validated it. And for the next 6 weeks, we've been producing, sending samples, and on the D-Day, they were just, they had the air delivery, they were very happy with the product, and they were very surprised. But we are a small company, so we don't have a strong capacity of production, but we have a strong capacity of adapting. I can straight away push one order to put another one. I can easily talk to my manager and say, okay, I'm sorry, we're going to work today a bit more, but there is this opportunity that we can take, we can do it. So this flexibility in terms of schedule, work, orders, because we need to order the fabrics. This capacity is the fruit of a strong understanding of how it works. Sometimes you don't have the skills that you expect, but you have all the skills. So here it's very easy to take a motorbike, take a tuk-tuk, and go meet a supplier to just grab one sample, bring it back to your workshop, adjust it, send it back to the supplier. And this is how we should understand when you export. You don't need to look like other companies abroad. You need to focus on what are your skills, what Cambodia has that other countries don't. I know that, for example, people really appreciate kindness. It's not a value that you learn at school, but when people they work with us, they're very surprised by the fact that, oh, your staff is very kind. Yeah, in Cambodia, it's a strong value in the communities and in the work environment to be kind. If you are pissed or if you are like in a very difficult moment of your life, you stay home or you keep smiling. But this is just an example, but there are so many things that you can use. And I can tell you that when you have like clients who are under pressure back in Europe, and they spend 2 minutes on the phone with you, it's a relief for them, because they know that they will get a smile, they know that we will say, I understand, I know that we will say, no problem, we will take care of it. I've worked in Europe before. Most of the time, when you're in a rush, when you are calling, and when people, they just throw back the ball to you. They say, no, it's not a problem, you fix it. My clients, when they have a problem, it's an opportunity for me to just strengthen the relationship we have, to make them understand that yes, you can count on us. And we are a small team, we are a small structure, and we can reply to you, we can adapt to your crisis. You have a crisis. If you have a crisis, we have a crisis. But we will deal with it differently, because we are in a different culture. So we will have a different vision, a different approach of your problem, of your crisis. So the solution we will bring is not the solution maybe you will expect, but it's one solution. And so my advice would be not to try to copy or to mimic what's being done, but to focus on what is the originality of this country. What do we have here that no one else has? And once you know that in your company, no one can copy what you do, no one can take your market, no one can take your business. Because every company is unique.
What was it that inspired you to export your products in the first place?
I have friends in the fashion business in Paris, and when I was visiting them, they were always under pressure. They were always complaining about this, that, and I was in the tailoring house with them at the workshop, and I was saying like, oh, in Cambodia we do like this. Oh, in Cambodia we do like that. So after 2 years, they were a bit fed up with me talking about Cambodia. And so okay, let's see for real what you can do in Cambodia. So my best friend who was working in a tailor company also, he said, okay, we have this contract going on. Take it. Show me what you can do. And he got good prices. He got the schedule he wanted. Of course, there was like a big work to be done on the understanding the cultural gap that we had between the companies. But it started like this, international, by people being fed up with me by saying like, we do it better in Cambodia.
Right. So apart from what you mentioned, apart from the difficulties, the challenges that you mentioned earlier, things like finding the right buyer, finding a logistic company, or even applying for a certain certificate, and these factors challenges for you as well.
It can be challenging, but I think when you sign a contract with an international buyer, you have to anticipate the fact that you will need a budget to hire a person who will do that. A person who will be focusing on paperwork, making sure that they can get you the proper labels, the proper standards that are required. So there is one thing that I do even before we start negotiating on the product. I know that for this country, there will be this amount of work in terms of shipping, paperwork, administrative documentation, and I include it in the contract. So people will tell me like, can we negotiate? I will say we can negotiate on some prices if we change the fabric, but on this part is a guarantee that you will receive your product. So we cannot negotiate this one. So instead of putting a team member who will have a headache or who doesn't have an experience in this in this particular documentation, I work with companies or I hire someone, a consultant, whose job is to do that. So we all have our talents, we all have like our skills. Let's focus on it, and let's not waste our time on trying to save a couple of $100s. No, because like you will be late, and you are facing a big risk for your product not to be going through customs. So that's why there are some logistic companies who offer you in their services the clearance, the paperwork, and you go for those companies, and they are expensive. But expensive is right now, but the cost of the product coming back to you and not going to your client the cost is tremendous. It's enormous. You cannot allow your company to receive the shipping back. It's the end for this contract, for this client, even for these countries. So you hire people who are specialized, and there are some people who are specialized in that and are very good at what they do. It's like when you have a lawyer, when you have a banker, it's their job, you trust them. If you are good at it, do it yourself, save a couple hundred. But I know that myself, I had one time one package, one sample, not the final product, the sample validation that was stuck in customs. It was, I told myself, like, I'm very happy it's just a sample. Just because I ticked the wrong box in the wrong color. But I'm colorblind, so I had an excuse.
Okay. So at the moment, are you looking to export into more countries besides the countries that you mentioned?
Yes, I am looking for exporting, but the way I'm prospecting is not with emails or phone calls. I go where are my clients. So last month I was in Italy, I was in Florence, and there is an international gathering of all the Italian suppliers, workshops, tailors, brands. And this is an international gathering called PT Umo, where you understand what's going on. It's not about fashion, it's about style, it's about elegance, it's about what's going on. What are the new fabrics, what are the new techniques. So when you just spend time with those people, you just make yourself available and you tell them, yes, me too, I do that. And I do it in the Cambodian way. But also, getting clients is also understanding what are their markets, where are their clients. So instead of telling them, you're exporting your product and I can supply you, I will tell them, like, how could you avoid the third biggest growth of Southeast Asia? Like, this market is a big market. You are not on this market, you should, and we can be your partners when you are here. So sometimes they think that I will be a supplier, but in the end, I become the one who find them clients. But it's just that me, I need to have my books filled with orders. So I need to find new markets, and the market that I know the best is Cambodia. So just by traveling, meeting the right people at the right time, and working on people who will be able to connect you with other minds, other traders, it will help you to understand first where is the market, and then you will have contracts, you will get proper export contracts. But for me, my vision is not prospecting. It's like being there, walking around, making yourself recognized. When I arrived in Italy, I had the red shoes. I wear my red shoes. Like this, you cannot miss the guy with the red shoes. Maybe you don't know my name, you know where I'm from. They say, oh yeah, you're the guy with the red shoes. Where are you from? So I'm from Cambodia. Oh, I love Africa. No, it's not Africa. It's Asia. And you should be there because people really enjoy this product. And so I create a connection. And it takes time. But once there is a connection, you really strengthen the relationship. I have the choice. Every company has a choice to grow or to get fat. You can occupy a very big market with a low-level product, or you can be very tall and be a very high-end product. So there is a choice to make when you export. And I know that many companies in Cambodia are looking to export. Most of the time, what do they export? They export high-end product or manufacturized product. Like we talked about pepper earlier. It's a perfect example of pepper. Pepper, it's like one of the best products of Cambodia. The product is so good that there is no need to try to convince people about the product. They know. They have, and it's the same for many products. We have one of the best rice in the world. But in many ways, there are many departments, many things that we do here. We don't know we are the best at it, or even the only one to do it. I have a friend who started fabric made in lotus flower 5 years ago. 5 years ago, everybody thinks he's crazy. Today, he's still the only one who in Cambodia who can do it. And for me, this is the key to export, is to make sure that no one else is doing what you do, and to make it high-end. Because mass production products, in my opinion, will tend to disappear in the future, because now many entrepreneurs and company leaders are very aware of the consequences for the environment of mass production, mass exporting. So instead of selling a lot at a low, very cheap price, you sell a few quantity at a very high-end price. But this requires time, and this requires dedication, and beyond everything, understanding on how we are different.
Thank you. I think that's pretty much what we want for the opportunities and challenges part. Next, we will move to the most important part, which is the lessons learned part. The question for this part would be, what value do you see exporting your products internationally?
Cambodia has a lot of trade agreements. So if you take the time to read them and to understand what markets are being facilitated, you can really jump on the trading highway quite easily. A lot of countries are willing to do business with Cambodia, and for that they make sure that there are trade agreements. So I would say focus on those roads that are being built for us. If you're not using those roads, make sure that your product is a very unique product, and that Cambodia is one of those countries who can help you to make this product grow.
So if you could share some lessons to the companies that are looking to export their products, what would those lessons be?
Like we talked about it before, I would say avoid trying to copy other services or other products that other countries have. I would say also focus on what are the core values of working in Cambodia, and you use that. We know some core values from the Arabs, from Americans, from Europeans. We know that some cultures really value this particular mood at work. And we have this in Cambodia. We have a very particular mood at work. It's a cliche, but we smile all the time. And this is something that it's not paying the rent, that's for sure, but it's bringing a lot of peace at the office. You know, in Europe right now, they have what we call the happiness manager. People are so sad at work that they need a happiness manager. That's so sad. In Cambodia, you don't have a happiness manager. You have one staff coming over with 2 big bags of mango because last week they were at their grandma and they had a mango tree. And this is something that you can promote with your business partners internationally. It's very surprising at the beginning for some, because why would you give me mangoes?
Yeah.
But it's the way we do things here. We share, we smile, we are very enthusiastic, and if we don't know, we want to learn. So those values are something that we can promote with our collaborators, with our partners. So if you want to export with people who are willing to go very fast, maybe we are not the right partner. But if you want to work with people who understand your need, who will take the time to partner up with you, who will share with you the culture, the rhythm, the vision, Cambodia is a good place for that. Many people, they come here and they stay. Many people who have done business in Cambodia remember doing business in Cambodia. So you can promote doing business with Cambodia as an experience also. So it's just how do you want to promote what you do? Do you want to promote it as we only do business, or do you want to promote it as we are an amazing country, we are an amazing culture, we are an amazing partner? But in which way are you amazing? And I feel it when I travel, when I meet partners, when I deliver my product. I say things that other companies don't say, like when we deliver in Europe a food collection to a hotel or restaurant, I tell them like the whole team was very happy to work on your order, and I want you to know that everybody in the company really enjoyed drawing, cutting. No one cares normally, like nobody. You just deliver your product, that's it. But the fact that I take the time to say like everybody really enjoyed working with you, this is something that, again, it doesn't pay the rent, but it's just the introduction of a value that is sometimes not promoted in work environments. So we have a lot of things to export, and it's sometimes not only a product or a service. It's a way of life. It's a declaration that this is how it works here, and it works very well for us. And you should take the time to focus on this.
Wow, that is the end of our today's interview. I'm very inspired. That is the end of today's interview, and I think myself and even the people who are watching are very, very inspired by what you shared today, especially for myself. What I've learned so far is to have your core value, what you really believe in order to have a successful business and in order to further export your products internationally as well, because you need to believe in your own product. You need to build it
Exactly.
in a way before you put it out to the world in a way. So I think that is by far the most important lesson so far for the companies out there. And yep, we thank you for your time today.
Thank you
and
very much.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.